You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
It's not true. That's impossible.
Hello and welcome to episode 160 of Making Tracks, brought to you by those fine folk over at fanfortracks.com. My name's Mark, I am one of your co-hosts, and joining me this week is a man who is now 1 year older, Mr. Mark Newbold.
Thank you, Mark.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, God.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, God.
That's all you're getting.
Thank you, good, because I've just got this image of you dressed up as Marilyn Monroe, calling me Mr. President, so I'm glad he stopped when he did.
Yeah, well, especially because I was just about to stand on that grate as well. My dress was going to go over my head, and we don't need that. I don't think anybody needs that kind of visual imagery in their mind. So how you doing, buddy? How was your birthday? Have you had a nice one?
I've had, yes, so far it's been very good.
Awesome. That's wicked, man. So have you had any nice presents? Have you had any Star Wars presents?
Yes, I have. Only one so far. No, two, actually. Two. Ruth got me an original Stormtrooper. It's basically like an Easter egg as a chocolate Stormtrooper helmet. So dark chocolate helmet. That sounds wrong. And white chocolate eyes. An original Stormtrooper birthday beer. And I'm sure there'll be other odds and sods and bits and bobs.
That's a good start. Anyway, how about just because I admit, and I do apologise to everybody because it's totally on me why we haven't recorded for the last few weeks. It's been absolutely bonkers with celebration prep and everything else, which I can't go into quite just yet. Have you had any new acquisitions into your Star Wars collection since we last spoke?
Funny enough.
Probably had loads, haven't you?
Loads. Most of them are for celebration. I'm turning around, well, the sound has gone weird. I'm turning around to look at it now. So, in terms of stuff for me, not a huge amount. In terms of Star Wars stuff coming into my home, there's loads of it. So, there's like flyers and badges and patches, and there's shirts, including one for you, Mr. Mulcaster. I know. And there's some stuff come from various places that are going to go to certain things that will have an involvement from a certain person I'm talking to. And all sorts of little bits and bobs, pull-ups and flyers. We've got the booth, the new Fantha Tracks flashy booth thing that you'll see at Celebration on the fan groups area. What are they calling it? I don't know what to call that area. I feel like, like you're not allowed to call it Slave 1 anymore, just to say we recorded an episode of Start Your Engines recently and I used the naughty S word.
Oh, no.
Yeah, repeatedly. I'm a repeat offender.
As you should do, to be fair.
I feel terrible.
Looking at the Celebration map, there's just this big area at the top of the, funny enough, the North Hall, which says fan groups. So we think, because Reed Pop hasn't actually told us specifically where we are, but we think, based on educated guesses, and also they've shown us our layout for the orientation of our booth and stuff, we think we're in that. Who else is there besides the kind of the collective fan groups, which is the 501st, Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, Saber Guild, Dark Empire, Galactic Academy, and of course Jedi News and Fantha Tracks, and in fact the Droid Builders. We're all there, and that is literally wedged right in between the Tattoo Alley and the Artist Alley. So it means I can go and nip over and get my Malcolm Tween print nice and early on a Friday. And then, like I did at Essen, go and speak to the tattoo artists. Now, I won't ever get a Star Wars tattoo at Star Celebration because personally, I think there's nothing worse than spending 4 or 5 hours wasted on a tattoo when I could speak to somebody who I like the look of their art and then book them later on. So that's what I'm going to do because I've got a nice, big, chunky calf muscle on my right leg.
I'm glad it's on your leg. That's a relief.
And I know. And that is calling out and has been calling out for the last 3 or 4 years to have a Boba Fett tattoo. So that is the aim, is to find a tattooist there who can kind of book me in relatively soon after Celebration and get that done, which is kind of what happened in Essen. I was given a lovely little patch by Dave Filoni of a Kawaki monkey lizard playing with a rocket. And it's a really scratchy kind of line drawing, so it looks a bit rough and ready on the patch. And so I took it over to a couple of the artists, and I spoke to one, and she was like, "We're all fully booked. let's do it once we all come back from Essen. So I then went to Jolie Rouge in, I think, Islington. I had a fantastic time and got this nice quacky monkey lizard playing with a rocket on my calf. So if I happen to see Mr. Filoni at Celebration, I'm almost tempted to produce a Sharpie to see if I can get him to sign it. And then I will see if I can get somebody from the tattoo booth to give me a quick 10-minute ink, because that would be amazing.
That's a great idea.
Oh, well, I hope so anyway. So there's lots of merch. And I don't know about you, but have you noticed, because I haven't been to the American celebrations, but there's a lot of people producing a lot of personal merch for this Celebration Europe.
The swag aspect of any celebration is always awesome. And not weirdly, it's where Sansweet's kind of taken his collection. He enjoys the fan-made stuff nowadays as much as he enjoys the official stuff. And there's a big focus on that, which is wonderful because it's rootsy. And you won't remember this because you were only 2 when ET came out. But when ET came out, there was this whole village industry of people making their own toys, essentially, and companies, small companies, before the licensing leapt onto these kind of things. It's cottage industry, as they called it. And so the swag stuff has that vibe about it. Like pirate videos, especially the original trilogy, and certainly Phantom Menace, saw a lot of this stuff, and definitely the holiday special, saw all these things, basically pirate video, pre-internet, tape trading, that sort of stuff. So it's got that rootsy feel because Star Wars belongs to us. I know it's the IP belongs to Disney and it's Lucasfilms and all of that. But because we're so ingrained in it and because we're so passionate about it and living it, hence us not being able to get together for about 3 weeks to record because we're both so busy, that you care about it. And so I think when you see these fan-made things, and now it's like swag. So we've got some Fantha bits, we've got some cool patches and badges and different things. And I know with the Rebel Legion, there's things, and I love that side of it. Yeah,
it's really cool. So the Rebel Legion is basically doing a joint booth with Fantha Tracks and also the Mando Mercs, Dark Empire, and Saber Guild and Galactic Academy. So what we're doing is this time we're doing a little bit different. Normally we would have the fan tables with the fan flyers and leaflets and trifolds and all that kind of stuff. We've gone, do you know what? Let's kind of riff off what they did last year at Anaheim and let's try and step it up a little bit. So we're not having any of that stuff. And at this point it is basically built a little cantina. So it's not the Mos Eisley Cantina or like one from Mos Espa or from the Book of Boba Fett or any of those ones. It's basically like, if you imagine a little scavengers out of the way town, which could be Tatooine, or actually it could easily be Jakku or Navarro. And it's a scavengers bar. So, there's a standing room only that's going to be made of like Starship panels and stuff, and we've all sprayed it. The thing that we're doing is obviously relying quite heavily on QR codes. So rather than having to print loads of stuff out, which A, costs a lot of money, but B, isn't very sustainable. And it's one thing that we've noticed from the communications from Reed, Pop and Lucasfilm, it's about trying to reinforce the sustainability of celebrations going forward. So we're like, let's do that. However, we've thought, well, if we've got a bar, then we need to have bar mats. So we've got these bar mats designed with the name of the bar. Greg Alonso suggested that we call it the Wampa's Arm. And I spoke very kindly to a brilliant company called thirsties.co.uk, and they produce beer mats. So they basically did us a really good deal, and we got 5,000 beer mats produced. And the design's been done by a good friend of mine, Wes Burns, who runs First FX Props. He designed it. Come and see us at Celebration. And the reason why I say come and see us at Celebration is, one, because I quite expect them to kind of go pretty quickly. And I know for a fact all the members really want some. But also, if it's anything like Star Wars Celebration Europe 2016, people will put these up on eBay. And if you miss out and you see it on eBay, before you buy it, honestly, drop us a message, because there's a big chance we're going to have some spare. And the last time, people were selling like flyers and leaflets for like £9. This is a freebie. I think I posted about 10 different packages of Celebration information to America and to like Germany and Belgium and stuff. I said, look, don't buy it on eBay. Don't give the scalpers the satisfaction of making money off of doing nothing but walking around and picking stuff up for free. Give us a message and we'll get you some beer mats out there and anything else that we happen to have left from Celebration.
Yeah. It's a bit galling, but people are people.
It is what it is. To be honest, I, not being out in the States, regularly rely on eBay to pick up most stuff from Celebration. I can remember after the 40th anniversary panel, and they had that beautiful print with Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher on it, and to commemorate her death and that, I picked that up on eBay. I mean, that cost me about £100. And the Rogue One poster, because I was on the booth at the time when they were handing those out, I think I paid £40 for that. And I actually paid £40 on eBay, and the guy literally walked up to me an hour later at Celebration and gave it to me. Didn't refund me the shipping, but but can't have everything. I mean, it is just the nature of the beast. But when you see it and when you know how little these things actually cost, and the fact that they're meant to be for free and they're not, and also actually technically we're not supposed to be selling this stuff because, without getting too deep into it, the legal hoops that we have to go through to make sure that we follow the IP correctly that Lucasfilm and the mandates that Disney put out means that, we can't make any profit on any of the merchandise that we produce for the club members, and it can only be sold to the club members. So, like, when you start seeing stuff like that on eBay, not only is it a bit frustrating because somebody's making a profit, but also it puts a huge amount of risk on the clubs for having like a cease and desist or some email or letter from Disney or Lucasfilm lawyers saying, you know what, you can't use our IP anymore. We can't use the IP. Then the clubs are really going to struggle to kind of create an identity.
Hi, this is Vivian Lyra Blair, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
Probably one of the best things about Celebration, other than the panels, other than the autographs, other than seeing everybody, obviously is the merch. So let's carry on talking about the merch. And the Celebration store put out a sneak preview of all the merch that is going to be held within the store. Should you have been lucky enough to have got a Lightspeed Pass or a Jedi Master Pass, or just happen to want to spend hours in the queue, you can get your hands on some of this stuff. So it's a nice selection. But what about you? Was there anything that really caught your eye?
I would say there's some very nice shirts. I've got quite a big Celebration collection over the years, so I do sort of like the pins and the patches and the smaller stuff. There's usually bags. There's a couple of tote bags this time. But T-shirts wise, there's the images from the patches, which look really nice on the shirts. There's a really cool football shirt with Europ 23 on the back, which I'm kind of tempted by with the London skyline sort of over the shoulders. I mean, how many shirts? There's loads of T-shirts. All the shirts. All the shirts. Some of them have come out really nice. Obviously, Jedi gets a lot of love, which is good. Definitely should. There's some nice patches as well. The logo patch, which they always do, and the lanyard, which we'll definitely get. Obviously, the event itself has essentially a style guide. So there's a skateboard with it on. I think there's a throw as well. There's posters and stuff. So they've gone to town in it, but I'm mostly pleased that Jedi is getting a little bit of love. There's an old school sort of the square Return of the Jedi logo with some Japanese writing underneath, but it's actually not Return of the Jedi, it's Revenge of the Jedi, which having looked through the t-shirts, that's probably the one that I'll plumb for.
I think that one and the Revenge of the Jedi preview t-shirt, the one with Luke and Vader. I would imagine those two and actually the Blue Harvest t-shirt, which is making a reappearance, that will kind of probably fly off. And I wish, I'm a little bit gutted because I wasn't able to get a Lightspeed Pass until the Monday afternoon. So the chances of most of this stuff still being there is probably pretty
That's
rare.
What worries me. I didn't get a Lightspeed Pass, so I'm hoping somehow I get to sneak in, or I'll be leaning on the good graces of yourself. And I think Carl from Desert Planet has managed to get a pass to get in on one of the days, so I might just have to smile sweetly at my friends.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really cool Mandalorian King t-shirt, which is kind of under their Legacy Saga collection, which is quite cool because that's kind of like Japanese style. So I really like that. I quite like, but I didn't catch a price on it, but I'd imagine it's pretty pricey based on how much the Death Star pattern button-down shirt is. The Endor camo windbreaker is pretty cool. Now, there's only a kind of like an artist's like rendition of it, so how it actually looks could change maybe my perception of it, but I thought that was quite cool. I like the... I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but I like the willow blue tea set, so just to kind of...
Yes, I did see that. I've not... It's
a bit random.
It's not in the article. I saw that, and at first I thought, is this a rib? Is somebody fake this? Is this a fan thing? And then I found out, no, it's a real thing. And I'm like, oh, actually, I could kind of go for that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, that is quite nice. I mean, even on the website, you can't click on the image, so you can't really see what it looks like to get much detail. But like the Rancor bottle opener, that's kind of cool. That's something that, you could actually see Regal Robot producing. Because for key art stuff, I ordered like the lanyard, a t-shirt for both me and Karen, and a patch and a pin, because I know that those event stuff tends to go really quickly, especially the patches and that. So I was like, no, get it now. I mean, and at least it's done. The artwork itself is quite nice, but actually, if you have friends who are designers, or anybody who even uses a little bit of image software, will tell you that London City's skyline, that's just some art that you can buy. And obviously, it looks a little bit thrown together from, I think it was either last Celebration or the Celebration before. I've got the the Throw, which was the ABC.
Oh, the Katie Cook
kids
one.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. Still in its wrapper, actually. I haven't taken it out. I mean, at the time, I kept in its wrapper because I had a Chihuahua who would have just destroyed it. But now I don't have said Chihuahua. It could come out. The X-Wing with Union Jack is quite cool. They've been fairly sparing with that because I know, like, for first Celebration Europe, they really went to town on like the whole London kind of,
Underground
like,
stuff and
cool Britannia type stuff. That's quite cool. But actually, what they've done, barring the fact there is quite a lot of Return of the Jedi stuff, there's at least some form of representation of, I think, every single Star Wars show. So there's an Ahsoka t-shirt, the Clone Wars t-shirt, there's a Mandalorian, there's a Skeleton Crew t-shirt, which looks like just a production art. And what's interesting is the choice of what they've done. You know, they've got the, Marva Andor on one of the t-shirts designs. And in fact, the Daughters of Ferrix, that's also like a t-shirt design. But the thing for me, the one thing that I really, really, really want to get, and I'll have to make sure that is on all my shopping lists that I give to all my friends, is the Armourer's Forge Hammer bottle opener, because I think that looks pretty fun.
I think you're quite correct. Well, you're getting in on the Monday, and who knows what's going to be left. Whether I get in at all, I don't know. I might just be smiling sweetly at people. But whatever the score, and however it works out, as long as we don't have to go to eBay and see loads of Fantha Tracks flyers going out for 20 quid, as long as we can get onto some way of getting into the store or some way of finding somebody who can pick up a few bits, I'd love to have all the t-shirts, but I usually just get one or two. I got a couple of 3 at Anaheim that came out really nice, although I did make a terrible error in that I bought what I thought was a 2XL t-shirt and got it back and it was 2XL women's t-shirt, which was not big enough.
Did your double Ds not fit into it?
Fit into it. It was quite galling, actually. So I ended up afterwards you can buy the passes as a pack. They're usually about 50 quid, which is probably too much because they're just spare passes they can't do anything with, but they look really nice in the collection, the smaller stuff. I think last time I did get the logo shirt with that purchase, but I'd rather get it at the show.
Here's where to find Fantha Tracks during Star Wars Celebration Europe.
You can find Fantha Tracks in the fan displays area across the whole event, near to the Galactic Senate stage in the North Hall if you're there. Or, if you spot a Fantha Tracks shirt on the show floor, be sure to come on over and say hi. On Saturday, 8th April from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Good Morning Tatooine, hosted by Brian Cameron with co-host Florian Bohr from Jedi Bibliotech, will be on the HoloNet News stage, room 17, along with very special guest author Adam Christopher. Also, on Saturday, 8th April from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Desert Planet Discs, hosted by Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson, will be on the Galactic Senate stage, bringing the fan-made music of the Star Wars galaxy to the XL, focusing on Return of the Jedi, with some very special guest panelists. Saturday evening, on the River Thames, we'll see Fantha Tracks take part in Sail Barge to Celebration, a sold-out clubs-only ticketed event that is sure to bring a few surprises. On Sunday, 9th April, from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Start Your Engines, hosted by Paul Naylor and Mark Newbold, will be on the HoloNet News stage, room 14. And just 2 hours later, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., on the same stage, we'll see the return of Making Tracks Live, with your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster. Hashtag Cantina returns Sunday night to the Indigo at the O2. And Fantha Tracks are your hosts for the VIP after party with guest DJ Atomic Blonde. If you have tickets, be sure to attend, as this is where you have a great chance of spotting some very famous faces from the galaxy far, far away, right in the crowd. Finally, on Monday, 10th April, from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Planet Leia, hosted by Claire Henry and Johanna Nebielios, will be on the HoloNet News stage, room 17.
Have fun, and remember, Fantha Trackers are everywhere.
What's your gut feeling right now as we sit just a few days away from the whole thing starting? Because it's not just what people see when the doors open at 9 o'clock on Friday morning, and then when the last one kicks out at 4:30 on Monday. There's all the stuff that leads up to it. There's all the stuff that happens after it. What's your house look like, Mark?
It's a tip. It's most of the time, Karen runs a really tight ship. The house is always immaculate. And at the moment, there's just boxes everywhere. And like I said, it is the stuff like the beer mats and bits of props and bits of things that I've built, but also I'm trying to work out what I need to take. And I have a storage garage which we keep all the Rebel Legion kind of sets, and I'm slowly pulling the tools from various boxes and trying to kind of combine them so I can take down exactly what I need and also then chuck some stuff out we don't need. When Celebration rolls around, it is a good time to kind of get everything out, and we are taking everything, literally, including maybe the kitchen sink. So, everything's coming with us, so I'm just trying to pull all that kind of stuff out. I've just had my retro figures arrive, the last wave which came out, which I think...
Jedi. I need to get those. I've not got those yet. Need to get those.
I mean, I've opened the box, and actually, the Star Action figure guys have packed them so tight, I haven't even been able to pull them out of the box. So, but that's probably not a bad thing, because I've been hearing complaints that actually Hasbro have gone back to thinner cardstock. So, slap on the wrists, Hasbro, for that. Yes. But I'll tell you one thing I got really randomly. So, when people travel from various different countries or want stuff from various different countries, they do often come to me and say, "Hey, Mark, we've seen this on this website. Can you pick this up for us and send it over? Because to get it shipped directly is £1 million, or to get it from their country's subsidiary website is full price." So I won't tell them who it is, in case, on the very slim chance that both he and his missus is listening. On Zavi, they have been selling for quite a while, so they clearly haven't been shifted. This limited edition gold slave layer bracelet collector's box set of a bangle and kind of like the armband. Where he was in the world was basically not discounted at all. Like, it was still like the original retail price, which was like about 200 quid or something, or 100 quid or something. But over here in Zavi, it's 30. Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, can you get me one and I'll collect it at Celebration?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Well, it would be rude not to," because it's one of those things that I was like, if I buy it, I should probably buy it for Karen, because if I don't buy it for Karen, I will never hear the end of it. However, I don't quite know if this was a 1-to-1 scale replica that they have done, but if they have, then Carrie Fisher has got some massive arms, because, like, I mean, to be fair, Karen isn't particularly like the biggest of ladies. However, those wristbands and bracelets and stuff, it's like, you're going to have to wear those around your thighs because they're massive. So, so that has arrived as well. And the thing is, when it comes to Celebration, every now and again you do something a little bit silly. So we've got the cantina for Wampa's Arms, as we've discussed here, and it was decided, and I don't know if it was me, but, well, if we're going to have the bar called a Wampa's Arm, we need a Wampa's Arm on the bar. Uh-huh. So luckily, a few years ago, Think Geek made those Wampa's Arms ice scraper mitts, which would cover pretty much your whole arm. And it works out perfectly for exactly what we did. So I ordered one for the States, which was like ridiculous for what it was. Bear in mind, I had to then rip out the ice scraper part, and we've mounted it onto a plaque. And there's a little kind of plaque which kind of says what it is and what have you. So that's going to be mounted on the bar somewhere. But the thing is, I wasn't quite sure how much stuffing one would need. And it came down to that whole logic quiz that you get. What weighs more, a ton of sand or a ton of feathers? Yeah. And it's like, well, actually, they weigh the same. But actually, a ton of feathers is infinitely a lot more space. So this arm is probably the average length for a human arm, from elbow to wrist. And so I was like, I'm going to need at least about 3 kilos worth of foam to stuff this thing. So in my collection room, I've just got this massive pile of like stuffing. And I literally only used probably about 1/10 of it. So if anybody, so I might have to make an Ewok costume or something just to use it up, because it's taken up all the space. So so there's that and everything else. So come April 12th and April 13th, once I've been able to offload a lot of this stuff to other people, my stress levels and Karen's stress levels, and probably her ire when she looks at me, a little eye kind of twitches every now and again, I think that will stop. But, the setup, by then, it's like, once you're there, it's crazy. We've got a spreadsheet trying to work out where we're meant to be each day. I mean, did you get any panels? I suppose you're running the podcast stage, so...
I'm hoping to get to some panels. I don't quite know how it's going to quite work out. My primary responsibility is to be looking after the Holonet news stage area. That's the main thing. Mm-hmm. But, of course, within that, there's a number of Fantha Tracks panels. So you and me are doing Making Tracks on the Sunday evening, 5:30 till 6:30, and Start Your Engines 2:30 till 3:30 with Paul, and Planet Layers Monday 11:30 till 12:30. Desert Planets on the Saturday, as is Good Morning Tatooine. So Desert Planets on the Galactic Senate stage, which is near where we are with the groups. Yep. And then Matt's going to be all around the show, getting as much information as he can for socials, and Brian will be doing the same. We're going to be doing daily podcasts and hopefully daily videos. So just from the Fantha point of view, there's lots going on. I'm going to have a team up on the Holonet News stage, which is at the right, it's the correct end of the hall. It's one floor up. So I think the university stage is up there, the fan stage is up there, the 2 Holonet News stages are up there. So we're all in the right area, and I'm going to have a team. So if it works like Anaheim, the team are fantastic. Generally, at that point of the show, it's reasonably smooth, and I'm there just to facilitate and make sure there's no problems and take care of that side of it. I've got my Narkina 5 costume, as I know you do, even if they're running around for 2 hours, as long as I can just run for 20 minutes, which in my state and my age, running more than 20 minutes is probably not an option. So I'll do as much as I can.
With your knees, yeah.
With my knees. So I've got some gel shoes, UK size 12, but my feet are sort of wider. I've got really wide feet and high. The top of my feet's really high. So I bought these shoes for they were like tenner or something from Amazon. So I've had to get the scissors to them to get the blooming things on. So they'll probably only get worn once. But yeah, my outfit looks pretty good. I think I sent you a photograph, so that looks pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, so there's that. And then of course, so that's the other thing. So the room that I'm in, the hotel that I'm in, the room is in Canary Wharf. So each day I need to travel in from Canary Wharf to the O2. So I need to figure out my timings and route for that. I think it's one stop, so that's no big deal really. But on the end of the day, it's a case of most people are going to want to go back, get washed, get changed, freshen up a bit, and then go out to our evening events. Of course, we've got Sail Barge on Saturday, we've got the 501st Bash on the Friday, we've got Boon to Reeve on the Thursday, which now clashes with the sound check for the Holonet stages, so it's trying to jiggle that and make sure everybody's organised there and everything's sorted out. On the Sunday, it's Cantina, which is going to be mad. There's a lot to think about.
There is a lot to think about, and that's the problem. You know, for example, Friday afternoon, I am needed elsewhere from about 4 o'clock for the 501st Bash. Then you have to start to work backwards. It's like, right, so what time do I need to leave a show to get to my hotel, to then get my stuff and what have you, and then move over to there? And similarly on the Saturday, I'm going to be checking people onto the boats to make sure that they're going on the right boat. I mean, to be fair, they can only really go on one boat or the other, but we need to make sure that the right people go on the right boat, and also that I get on the right boat myself.
Yes.
I've got the collectors panel on the Friday. I've got Making Tracks with You on Sunday. I've got Meet the Rebel Legion panel on Sunday as well. I think I got into the Ahsoka panel and the Obi-Wan panel. Oddly, both me and Karen got onto the Ahsoka panel, but only I got a ticket for the Obi-Wan. So I haven't quite figured out whether or not if that means that I'm going solo or whether or not she's can come on with me because I've got a single ticket. I don't know how it works really. To be honest, not massively fussed about the Obi-Wan because it's probably be a look back. It might be an announcement. They might announce season 2, I suppose. But retrospective stuff like that is kind of nice, but because it feels so, it's so this year, and they did such a good job with that Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of behind the scenes documentary.
They're going to announce season 2. Come on.
Oh, they're going to announce season 2.
I don't know, but that's my guess. It just makes me sound very wise when they announce it, and I can go.
I think they're going to announce season 2. I think.
Well, there you go. There you go. We've hopped on our next topic. What do you think they're going to announce?
I mean, I still think that they're going to confirm that there's going to be a film out in 2025. Mm-hmm. I still think that is going to happen. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is the worst celebration ever just because I didn't make an announcement. But that's what I think they're going to do. Whether or not there's names attached to it and whether or not they bring out said director and maybe writer, that would be quite cool because I think that's what it needs because they've done a lot of this film's come in, but there's never really been this person is now being dragged out in front of a celebration crowd, therefore kind of slightly more accountable for it. That's probably my big prediction. We might get a sneak peek for Ahsoka. I think that would be quite cool. But I don't necessarily think there'll be huge announcements.
I mean, they're filming Acolyte at the moment, so you never know. There could be some sort of, I remember when Guardians 2 came out and Paul H had a Marvel panel and they'd been filming for like 2 weeks and they showed like a teaser trailer using footage that they'd shot in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the Lucasfilm panel, isn't it? And that's a big one, because, I mean, actually, if you look at the Friday day, there's not a huge amount on. There's just the 2 on the celebration stage. There's that, and there's another panel. But I would think probably another indie trailer.
I think they've had the final trailer out, but it wouldn't surprise me if they put a clip, because where are we now? We're going to be in April. In May, 17th or 18th, they haven't announced which day yet. Dial of Destiny is going to be shown at Cannes, either on the opening day or the second day. And that's only, 5 or 6 weeks out of that? Even that's like 5 or 6 weeks ahead of Dial of Destiny coming out at the end of June. It wouldn't surprise me if Harrison Ford was there to talk, to talk mostly about Dial of Destiny, I would imagine, but also it's Jedi 40th. And I just think it'd be hilarious because everyone spent the last 40 years going, oh, he hated Star Wars. Oh, he wanted Han Solo to die. He just offered that as a suggestion. Well, what are you going to do with him? You want something dramatic to happen, kill him off. It wasn't that he hated the role and he never wanted to come back. So it'd be interesting for him to come on and talk about Jedi if that was the case. In terms of announcements, things that wouldn't surprise me that are not rocket science and 9 out of 10 people will go, yeah, I agree, is that I think they'll probably announce the season 3 of Bad Batch coming off the back of what we just saw this week. It wouldn't surprise me at all if there was an announcement of a second season of Obi-Wan. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. Maybe not here, but if there wasn't at some juncture, maybe they want to save it for... Because they don't want to announce everything at Celebration because you've got San Diego coming up, you've got New York coming up. At some juncture, if they announce that Book of Boba Fett Season 2 is going to be coming our way, there's obviously Skeleton Crew. They're not going to announce Season 2 of Skeleton Crew yet, but I think there's plenty of things they could announce. We've got Season 2 Visions. There's a panel of that on the Monday, I believe, so there's stuff happening there. There's lots going on. But in terms of films... I'd be surprised if they didn't, but they've got to be confident that they can land it. They've got to be confident that this is a definite goer. I just hope that when they do announce it, it's definitely happening. This is locked in. We've had a thing on the site about Damon Lindelof has moved off. Stephen Knight from Peaky Blinders has moved in, and now he's having a bash at a draft of it. It happened with Michael Arndt on Force Awakens, did a draft, and then others came in. Yeah. Gary Ritter did the same with Rogue One, and then other writers came in.
It happens in a lot of films. With the Bond films, you have somebody who almost breaks a story, and then there's other people who do the polish and, stuff changes and stuff. It's kind of part of the process these days because, sometimes if you've got a story that to you makes sense and this is what needs to happen, but for other people aren't necessarily it's working, you do need those other perspectives. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, really. So you are right. I think they really, if they're going to announce it, it needs to be like, this is happening, it's going in front of the cameras like September. Yeah. Or already is just about to, because we've had a few of these kind of announcements and nothing's really happened. And it'll still get headline news because it's a Star Wars film. Yeah. But you kind of want some definite, this is definitely happening.
Hi, this is Dave Chapman, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
For me, one of the main things, if not the main thing, it's always nice catching up with old friends. There's some people that you see regularly on the circuit, and there's some people that you don't see for years that come along that you just haven't crossed paths with. So Celebration's always a great place for things like that to happen. I'm super stoked for it. I think it's going to be awesome. Fantha's going to be all over it. Rebel Legion's going to be very busy. Before we roll out of this episode, could you give for people a little bit of information on a certain charity fundraising endeavour that you guys, and I say you guys, that the groups within the fan area are putting together?
Yes, I certainly can, because I say it's Galactic Centre. You are also on the logo, and I say you, meaning Fantha Tracks, but yeah, the main fan groups. That is for Fiverr First, Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, Droid Builder, Saber Guild, The Dark Empire, and Galactic Academy, and Jedi News and Fantha Tracks. We are raising money across the celebration weekend for Make-A-Wish UK. And so we will be collecting solely for that charity at any of the events that we are attending. If you go onto the Fantha Tracks website, and you'll be able to click on a link, which will take you to the givestar.com micro-site for the UK, and we are basically /fundraising page /One Galaxy. So our hashtag is the same as it was last year for last Anaheim, which is hashtag One Galaxy One Goal, which is all one word. Basically, they grant wishes for lots of sick and unfortunately dying kids, all sorts of things. And some of those are Star Wars. And I know for Fiverr First and Rebel Legion, we've been involved with various wish makings over the years. Fantastic. So we've set a modest donation goal of £5,000. It would be fantastic if anybody could just reach into their pockets before they go to Celebration and maybe just chuck a couple of quid into it, because you probably won't have much money afterwards.
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, and this charity fundraiser will run for the entirety of April. So hopefully we'll be able to surpass that. And yeah, and so keep an eye on the social media channels for like Rebel Legion, Fiverr First, and Fantha Tracks, Jedi News, and everywhere else, because we will no doubt be pushing this out all across the celebration weekend.
Go to Fantha Tracks front page, click on the link, make a donation. As Mark says, it's running all the way through to the end of April. And yeah, fingers crossed, One Galaxy, One Goal. Proud to be a part of that and help give it a signal boost. Drop any of your dataries or calamari flan or whatever you've got knocking around in your pockets, drop it in the tubs. Be a part of something very special.
Okay, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that we get to chat to lots of you at Celebration Europe. And if not, don't worry, like Mark said already across this episode, Fantha Tracks will be covering all sorts of news and content on social media, so keep an eye on that. On our return, if you have a listener's question or even a comment about what you saw at Star Celebration, you can send it over to us. But to do that, you'll probably need to know where and how to send it. So Mark, can you let the good listeners know?
I can, and this is how you do it. If you want to be a part of the action and stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news, visit fanthatracks.com or check out the free Fantha Tracks app through the App Store to follow us on your mobile device. Thank you, Mark. You can reach out to us and send in your listeners' questions by emailing radio@fanthatracks.com. So, of course, we're at Celebration. If you see a Fantha shirt, come over and say hello. Maybe you'll get a pin, maybe you'll get a patch, maybe you'll get a slap round the face, who knows. Or if you see a Rebel Legion shirt or anybody from the costuming groups, go over and interact with us because we are interactable. Comment, like and share on any of our social media feeds at Fantha Tracks, and be sure to subscribe, leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice. And as always, thanks to James Semper for composing the Fantha Tracks intro, Annabelle Bryan for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. Remember, tune in to Good Morning Tatooine. It's live Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock UK time, 4 PM Eastern, 1 PM Pacific on Facebook and YouTube. And check out our Fantha Tracks Radio Friday night rotation every Friday at 7 o'clock UK time for new episodes of The Phantom from Down Under, Planet Leia, Desert Planet Discs, Start Your Engines, Collecting Tracks, Cannon Fodder, and special episodes of Making Tracks. And every Tuesday at 7 o'clock UK time for your weekly episode of Making Tracks, the next episode of which will be done live on the Holonet news stage at Star Wars Celebration Europe. And I'll see you there, Mark. It's a date.
I can't wait. I might even shave my legs and my pits.
Show that tattoo off.
Absolutely. So until then, or until at least after Celebration, everybody have fun if you are going, and if you're travelling in from a great distance, safe travels, and I hope the Heathrow strikes don't screw you up too much. And yeah, don't worry, the London Underground isn't actually as confusing as everybody makes out, so you'll be fine. And if in doubt, ask a Fantha, because they know everything. So yeah, so stay safe, have fun, take care, may the Force be with you.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Desert Planet Discs.
We've done an episode of Making Tracks, Mark. What the hell's going on?